Oh, Jeffrey was such a sweet and lovely young boy. His life was truly, interrupted by substance abuse, and also those who prey on addicted kids. When instances like this happen, I feel that it is on all of us in society to ask questions about what was it that we could have done better, and how could we have helped this family, and to expect that families can solve this problem alone is not recognizing the nature of this kind of abuse of our children.
I remember one interview we did with her asking if she could please tell us what was going on. She had bruises on her face, but she still would not tell us exactly what was happening because she was still way too much under the influence of her trafficker.
He was frustrated with me because, I wasn't very vocal. I held a lot of stuff back.
So finally, when she had enough counseling, enough help, she came to the realization that she'd lost portions of her life and she wanted to turn her life around. So that's when she started talking to us, and that's when she started working with us as a victim witness. In the same process, we were able to have other victims come forward, which made a significant case against her trafficker, and eventually it ended up going to a federal jury trial for which he was found guilty on all 9 counts.
Didn't want to be alive, I didn't care anymore, and feeling that way isn't really going to make me want to help myself, so having somebody to change that perspective even just a little bit at a time, is really important. It was nice, it was really nice, because I wasn't in a really good place, and it was nice to get some empathy for a lot of different things that I was going through.
We talked about things that all adults need to be prepared to talk about with young people. About what are healthy relationships, what is abuse. There are young people out there like Aiden who are ready to talk to us about difficult things and want us to help them make sense of them in order to achieve safety. And if we fail to do that, then we're failing at doing our job.
It's always difficult to be a young person. Being a young person in our society with technology and selfies and Facebook and Instagram, social media, the pressures are unbelievable and they're unrelenting. But everybody cares. People care. So I think it's on all of us as a community to really strongly intervene in the lives of young people.
These young people are summing up whatever strength they have to be strong, and to be strong in the face of some really, really terrific odds against them. And so to hear the word victim would feel very vulnerable to someone who is doing whatever it takes to be the strongest person they can possibly be. If we're waiting for kids to, come to us and say that I am a victim, then, that is, going to be too late. We need to be aware that this problem is occurring. We need to be aware that the purchasers, the demanders of sex, could be anyone and can look like people and that the kids are waiting for somebody to do something about it.
Start looking out your back door, start opening up your eyes, start seeing young kids who are hanging out with older adults, start calling that in, start watching it. There's reasons. Like, people don't realize, like, you see 13, 12-year-old, 14-year-old kids with 21-year-old, 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds. Why? There's something going on. Either they're teaching them prostitution or to get into drugs or to do something that they shouldn't be doing.
Start talking to your children about things that are happening. When you see sporadic life adjustment, or all of a sudden they have all these unexplained friends that you don't know anything about. Children are always trying to tell you something, but are we listening? You know, and that's the thing. Those hard questions that you don't think that you want to ask, if you don't, somebody in the street are going to give them the answer to it, and it's not going to be what you would have told them.
So adults need to be prepared to listen to kids' stories, no matter how dark that narrative might be, and no matter how upsetting, so that a young person feels like you are not trying to correct their behavior, but you're trying to understand their behavior.
There tends to be some blame. Like, what did you do to deserve this? Like, I think a lot of us don't understand, like, how this happens so easily and how just complex the manipulation is. For a lot of young people, it's having someone articulate to them that your feelings are valid, you're feeling them because they're real, and that when adults start to recognize that those are real feelings, then maybe it provides a safe place for them to ask for help. And generally speaking, I think that that's where we find our relationships kind of begin with young people, is when they've experienced some validation for the way they feel.
This is one of the rooms that we have for the ladies that come in off the street. This is like an overnight spot. It's called Humble Beginnings. You have to start somewhere. Why not here is our motto. Say, when you see me, what do you see? Do you believe this was a face of a girl that was trafficked? Because you see my end result. You don't know my beginning. Start asking. Be inquisitive, but don't pry. When I was in the life, I thought about, why didn't anybody ever ask me what was wrong? So that's why I do what I do, because I want to make a difference. For everybody that didn't ask that question, I'll ask it. For everybody that oversees things and think it's a hard question to ask, I'll ask it. You know, but I'll be transparent first so you'll understand. I know that you want somebody to ask you that question. And I'm not prying and I'm not digging, but I understand you. Because it once was me. I was that girl that was misunderstood. I was that girl that was looked over. I was that girl that was ostracized and bullied. I was that girl that didn't feel like she fit in anywhere, but the street accepted me. And I found my place there and my home there. Be a listening ear and really care. And most importantly, be honest. Because the more honest you are with yourself about what's happening to our youth, the more they feel like somebody cares enough to make a difference.
I think it's a mistake when you meet somebody who isn't sure if they've been victimized or not, to start out asking them, what did you do? And in fact, the way you start is to ask them, what did the person who hurt you do?
Teachers do this a lot, like people in my work do this a lot, where we don't ask what happened to people, we ask, why did you do things? And that becomes a big barrier for why we can't, resolve some of these issues. We're not trying to fix, we're not trying to save young people. We're just trying to be a presence in their life, and we just want to be available to them. And through that, you can build relationships, and you can start to make suggestions about things. We can start to have conversations about some really kind of messy conversations. So like, what are you doing to keep yourself safe? A lot of kids aren't used to being asked that. Like, how do you keep yourself safe? So we have those conversations that a lot of adults aren't willing to have with young people. Sometimes it takes a long time for them to build that trust with us. A lot of adults think that that's just they're being rejected. Like, I just want to help you. Why won't you accept my help? And they might go right back to what it was, what we would say is dangerous or unhealthy behaviors. but know that the longer we stay in their corner, eventually they come back to us. But it takes time. It takes a ton of time.
If they've been arrested for anything, many times they don't trust the police right off the bat. And so that's why we offer to have them talk to a counselor. We really need to earn their trust. So if they call, like maybe after we refer them to services, and they call and they want to talk to us, it's really important that we pick up the phone and talk to them, because they need to have somebody they can count on.
And you never know who's going to have that ability to have that relationship. You never know who might be at the right place at the right time when that kid's feeling vulnerable and asks for help.
We help with job readiness, we help with transportation, all of that happens. If you want to know something from a young lady or young man, then tell them about you first before you start prying into what their life's about. But if you stop long enough to say, you know what, I remember when I was 16, and that commonality helps children to understand that you do understand, you are listening, and you do care.